Reality check. Actuality check. Let's give a honor to source for the creation, for everything. Woo! Ah! Huh. Shit. Woo! Huh. Fuck, I don't know whether to laugh or cry. Scorpio season tearing my ass up. I can't be the only one. I'm trying to laugh, but the shit funny, but it really ain't funny. I'm laughing, but at the same time, y'all can't see me tearing up behind these shades, but it don't even matter. I think we need to normalize going through a midlife crisis. Let's stop for a moment. We all probably going through a midlife crisis. I'm writing in my journal today, and I told myself, y'all gotta excuse the wind. But look, it's a beautiful fall. Oh my gosh. Before I go ahead. Man, let's just take a moment to take in this season, which is so vital, this fall season. Like the leaves are falling off. Man, the different colors. You know, I don't know where a lot of people are. Shout out to people that are in other countries. And y'all may not even experience fall, bro, or what they call autumn. Like we have, look at this. That's what I love about it. We have different color leaves, like different trees, the different colors over there. Oh my gosh, like it's so amazing to see this time of year. It's one of my favorites. So I'm walking the trail, and I'm gonna make sure I ain't going to no long one, 0.5 miles, let's see. So yeah, man, before I get into what I was talking about, let's really accept the norm. Like, bro, I'm going through a midlife crisis. I'm not ashamed to say it. I think, you know, the first step to the healing, the transparency, you know why I'm going through a midlife crisis and I'm not ashamed to talk about it? I don't care what you see on the surface. I'm going through a midlife crisis, dog. It's funny, but it ain't funny, but I can be honest with myself. We all are. That's the first step to a lot of the healing journey is acceptance, taking the full accountability and the fact of like, it's really nobody else. What can I accept my role in this shit? And I have. The midlife crisis is a part of that too. Where it seems like, not only seems like I'm in the middle of apocalypse, the world is ending, the world as I know it, every day trying to find an identity around outside of fatherhood. Manage my own emotions, regulate my own emotions, trying to regulate your kids, your partner. That's a midlife crisis, dog. I'm the first to admit it. It's okay to say that you are not okay. I've been talking about this for a while now, like identity crisis, bro. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. I was journaling today, talking about how, you know, I'm gonna tell you, my son was crying. I'm trying to rest. I kid you not. Just from my experience. All I want to say is, I always say that, man, I do not know where we would be. Humanity. Where we would be without our women. Now, men, we do our part. We do our part. This is not to discredit men. But I don't know. Without the resilience of women, let me tell you something. I feel like a lot of my midlife crisis and my karma is the Most High has put me in the very position of what women, and I don't mean biologically speaking, I don't mean in that sense of the anatomy and so forth. I mean emotionally. I feel like this is how far we have been disconnected from ourselves as men, and what really connects us to the divine feminine aspect of who we all are is the energy. The things you don't see what women go through, and they so gracefully just act like nothing's going on, bro. How How? I had my partner leave to go somewhere, and I had my son trying to put him to bed or trying to, make sure he rests. He's starting to cry and whine, then my daughter started to cry and whine. And I was just like there stone, like, bruh, like what the fuck is going on right now? I could do nothing but breathe, because when I say I don't know how you women do it, I'm not perfect in what I do. But from my lessons that I've learned, I have the utmost respect and gratitude for the creation of a woman. Because the patience, the resilience that y'all fucking have. And I was telling my partner the other day, like about this, how, just that moment before I get into what I was telling my partner about, when she walked out and I was like, go have a moment to yourself. Bro, when those kids were crying, I was like, what in the entire fuck? How? And I feel like a lot of this is my karma, my lesson to learn to see the importance of how it is to be emotionally in tune as a man. The importance of emotional intelligence. And this is why I see so much of the disconnect to our women who don't know the importance of their emotional intelligence, who hasn't honored their emotions, who don't have a nation or a country or corporations or places that allow them to regulate their emotions. There have been establishments and places in this old foundation that is crumbling that has not been enabling them to really face, what is over here? To really allow them to regulate their emotions. And when you have that, the matriarchal, our women who represent this matriarchal, guess what happens? You're seeing it right fucking now, bro. You're seeing it right now, bro. How do you expect eventually our women not to spaz out, lose it, or even eventually not rise in their power? What? I'm sitting back like, there's no way I could be sitting here doing this all day. All day? With kids? Shout out to the women in the daycares, the teachers, wherever you are, if you have to deal with kids, if you have to deal with human beings. Especially women that had to deal with their own mothers who are unhealed, who have repressed emotions and repressed memories and so forth, who never shown you a healthy outlet how to regulate your emotions, man. I feel for y'all. I really do feel for, because I'm telling you, when you look at humanity, when we look at the patriarchal, it reflects the woundedness of the matriarchal as well. The wounded matriarchal has been enabling the patriarchal. It's not to point out who's wrong or right. We've all been fucking wrong, y'all. Man, my soul is crying out, bruh. That's why I always be like, man, when I be going back to my, when my partner was leaving, when I said, I told her when she returned, I said I felt like a woman. I felt like, what's going on right now? Is the Most High, is the universe playing a trick on me? Well, I told her, I said, when she returned, I said, wow, I was literally in the position of how she felt. The feeling of being overwhelmed. When our women, there is no sisterhood. There is no place or establishment that has been built or created for you all to not only regulate your emotions, not only to be seen, not only to be heard, not only to be felt, not only to be honored and embraced. There's nothing that values and celebrates you from all different shades. And this is the wounded masculine in all of us. And when I say wounded masculine, I've spoken on this before. Women who have dealt with the fact of dealing with a father that did not protect or provide or, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and so forth. And that began from his woundedness from his mother. And then the partner that he attracted. Telling y'all, man, this shit coming up and this shit tearing my ass up. I'm walking around trying to find a place to sit down. I'm about to sit on a log or something, but I do not want to walk all the way down there. When she walked out of there, boy, you know how much, and this is why I say the reconnection is happening. We have to see the wounded aspect of ourselves before we can even think that we can heal something. Something, how? And the more we keep going along thinking like money, material things, anything superficial is going to cover it up, bro, the more we fooling our fucking self and it's being exposed. I'm not going to judge no one for their character, for what they've been exposed, because who am I to place that judgment on just because whomever is going through, whether in the public eye or not. We all going through something right now, bro. I'm in a midlife crisis, bro. There's people right now don't even know how they rent gonna get paid. Cause I'm one of the ones who had the experience. Like, I'm trying to decipher where do I care about my well-being because I know this fucking position in this career, this place don't care about me, or do I what? Be asked out, not have nowhere to live. This is where right now, I feel like a lot of our faith is really kicking in right now. I know for a lot of you on the brink of a miracle. And that miracle can look different for everybody. You could be in a position of just being somewhere where it's not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, where you are well off, where you are abundant and prosperous, where the Most High will put you in a said position to place you. That can be the miracle. That can be the opportunity to place your family, your tribe, or whomever in a position where you can honestly be in a position to allow yourself to go get that therapy, to go get, that healing, to go get to be in a place where you could be secluded for whatever duration to face things on a deeper level, on a spiritual level. Telling you, man, this shit, hey, bro, I'm going through a midlife crisis. Well, man, I'm accepting it. I'm accepting it. You know why I'm going through a midlife crisis and I can be fucking transparent? And I'll tell you from my experience. I'm talking about from the experience where I need to know the importance of taking care of my well-being. Yeah. My emotional, physical well-being, spiritually, I always talk about. All the while the world crumbles, on this false ideology of like how we're supposed to be as human beings. Yeah, I'm going through a midlife crisis. Sometimes I don't even know what the fuck I'm crying about. Sometimes I got stuff, repressed memories, repressed emotions coming up from shit that happened to me when I'm 3 or 4 or 5. Yep. Sometimes I get angry. Sometimes I don't know to decipher between like, oh my gosh, like, do I stay? Do I go? Am I coming? Am I going? Yeah. I don't give a fuck what the world can label me as. This is authentic integrity, raw, real, unfucking cut, unfiltered. Yes. Midlife crisis. I've accepted it. Have you? It seems like everything falling apart, but at the same time, I'm telling you, I got peace. I'm in the woods making a video. You know why? I told myself, these trees ain't finna argue with me. Nothing's out here in nature's gonna fight with me. Nothing, But again, yeah. I think around this age too, around when you get your early mid 30s or whatever it is, and you're like, what the fuck? What have I been doing? What have I been doing? Then the universe will be like, oh, I'll tell you what you've been doing. You've been neglecting yourself, buddy. You've been ignoring all the signs. You've just been going on about life and not realizing that Someday, you're gonna have to be fucking accountable. You're gonna have to be accountable for your emotions. You're gonna have to be accountable for everything. You're gonna have to be accountable. And guess what? No one's to blame. It's you. It's always been you. I'm not saying you haven't been hurt just because other people were hurting and they projected their insecurities and their unhealed traumas on you. Of course not. I'm not saying that. But what about your shortcomings? What about the mishaps? Can you take full responsibility? And boy, oh boy, let me tell you, that shit has been so unpleasant, so uncomfortable. The uncomfortable truths about our role and what has transpired. The uncomfortable truths of mentoring to young men who are much younger and expressing to them like, look, from my experience, again, it's all perspective, bro. But chill out, my man. Chill out. You got a whole life. You don't really need a girl. Vet her. Learn to be friends. Love yourself. Something I was never expressed to. Something I never really had in my life. I'm in that position now. I'm like, man, after 2 kids, coming to that realization, like, oh, wow. Some of us are in these places where, the deep acceptance, like, you are the new elders. You are the new ones you are the new teachers. And it's nothing to feel shame and guilt. But there was guilt and shame that rose up knowing, like, when was I going to recognize a pattern? The pattern of knowing that I didn't have none of these men in my life that really showed me. And this is my father wound that's now being exposed. I've spoken to you all about the mother wound. The father wound is even more exposed. I'm angry. I'm not angry at no one else, but I honor the fact that I can be and I should be. I am angry with my father. I'm angry with the man who, in his irresponsibility, from my perspective, his irresponsibility, that if you're going to lay down with a woman and so forth, you can at least fight for that child. I know a lot of us can relate to this. I'm angry with it. Would I get through it? Absolutely. And I'm doing it now. And a lot of things don't come up for a lot of us until we are in a position where we have kids or where we are, now at a set age where outside of what mama told us, outside of our mothers and fathers' belief system, outside of religion, outside of what the world has told us who to be, how a man should be, when we should be, how we should be as women, we should think, act, be, use our gifts, how we should obtain up success. Man, it's all bullshit. And then it hits you. You be like, man, what have I been doing? The transparency and knowing, like, I may not ever have that father to step up to do these things or just say, like, son, hey, this and that, and, I did this, but it's the things that come up after that, bro. And I'm giving it to y'all here now, raw, especially young men. It's the things that come up after that when you realize you've gotten the truth. And you finally got the side of you finally got your mother, you finally got the side from your dad or your mother, and that sometimes that can be very uncomfortable. Because you wanted to believe mama's story so bad that your dad wasn't shit. Or you wanted to believe so much that, this person wasn't who they say they was, and all of a sudden you come to that awareness like, they were lying the whole time to keep you close, to keep you attached to them from their own selfish attachments. Man, oh man. Wow, what a world we live in. So, sometimes I just sit and ponder. I just sit and ponder and be like, well, what am I doing here? This what I signed up for? So, yeah, it's that authenticity is something, boy, that walking in integrity. It can feel very lonely when you have to walk away from the said people who want to stay stagnant or stay complacent or stay in the same places. No matter family, no matter their title, no matter your partner, no matter what, even your own kids. And so, yeah, man, that father wound, again, like, I'm here to recognize and acknowledge it and to share my own experience. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I think I said this before. I don't know. I really don't know. Once you, like, some of us or some of you will come to that self-realization of like, man, like, what have I been doing? Or trying to assume that you have it all together because we've learned from other people that, you know, their belief systems on life. But do we know our own belief system? What is our own belief system around religion? What is our own belief system around love? All these different perspectives. What is our belief system? And some of us have developed these belief systems from people. When you're looking at their value, when you're looking at what they built or still doing for years and years, there's no substance, there's no integrity, there's no type of, morals and principles. It's literally a false identity of still going in an identity crisis of self-destruction, constantly doing the same thing. And the most challenging thing with me, with dealing with this fatherhood thing, speaking on that, like the father wound, it highlights everything. Like, you know how difficult it is to come to that self-realization, like, nigga don't know nothing about financial literacy, don't know nothing about responsibility, don't know nothing about, being structured, being disciplined. And then, this can go on for 20, 30, 40, 50 years for a lot of people. Even for myself, I'm grateful that I was able to catch it, to realize like, oh, now I see the behavior pattern. Now I see I was running from myself. Now I'm noticing that no one's coming to save me. I have to take full responsibility for my actions. I have to take full responsibility now for my role. Yeah, my dad may have told me some uncomfortable truths, but guess what? I'm at this place now. You know that saying, man, had I known what I known back then, but what about knowing now? Because knowing is half the battle. That's what makes this shit so difficult, bro. And so challenging. It's like, this is a whole new beginning, I feel right now, because it's like, I told myself, I'm like, the acceptance of a father figure never really being there, or the father figure that you wanted, that you needed. And then a lot of us having to mother and father our fucking self. I was telling my partner, I said, most people will never know what it is to be in your position or other people's position when they dare try to attack someone's motherhood or fatherhood, especially when some of these people, some of you who may have had a two-parent home, or some of you that will never know what it is to raise yourself emotionally, mentally, having an emotionally unavailable parent, or dealing with abandonment issues even in your 30s and 40s and 50s, whatever it is. You got kids now going through that shit right now. And then guess what? Some of us are now preparing to help aid them through that shit, through their storm. I'm just realizing, like, through my own storm, I have to balance out being a rainbow for myself. I have to see myself as a rainbow and not depend on other people to be a rainbow for me. I have to be a rainbow for myself. I have to realize that this storm too shall pass. And it's a balance, because externally, physically, I can show up as like being a rainbow for someone, because we do that for each other. But again, you still have to remember, like, being the light that you see in your own darkness, accepting that. So no one's perfect in this. No one has it all together. I definitely don't. Like I said, that father wound now rearing this, like, peaking, like, yeah, man. before we attack and judge someone, you have no fucking idea because you just came in on this chapter of their life. And some of us are learning now to be the author of our life. While we used to let others write our story because they was in victimization and we became a victim to their story, to their narrative. But then once we start standing up for ourselves, setting healthy boundaries and saying, you know what, I don't need this. I may want you in my life, but I don't need it. I don't need you there. I don't need the unhealthiness. I don't need the attacks. I don't need that because that's how you rewrite the story. That's how you realize you become the author again. I hope. Okay, I'm just keep walking. It's a path. That's what I'm grateful for. But and when let me tell you something, bro. Now let me track back to the experience of when I was holding my son and my daughter was crying, asking for some food. And it's like I'm sitting here trying to breathe and regulate my own emotions. This shit highlights so much because, again, a lot of us never been around men or women who knew how to regulate that shit, who knew how to tell us to breathe, who even knew how to tell us to just whether walk away, take a moment to yourself. We're just now trying to do this, and some of us don't even have the support. Talking about it takes a village. This society, this place don't even know what villages is. They don't really know what support is. When we really look, that's the most challenging part of looking at this shit. It's like folks don't really know what that is because they never experienced, they never seen it. That shit is challenging when you never seen a man or never seen someone, and then all of a sudden you're forced to be responsible. And in that process of trying to be responsible, you have to remind yourself not to lose yourself in the idea. I told myself today, it hit me. And I've been here before, but I told myself, I was like, bro, I've been trying to fix everybody but my fucking self. And in the process of trying to fix everyone, I ignored that I was pretty much kind of broken or had a broken belief system. When you have people that are conflict driven or grow up in environments where they believe that physical, verbal, emotional abuse, abandonment is their belief system. This is their core values. And then here you are learning this shit as a child. Told my partner, I said, can you believe that I actually believed at a time, because this is a development of belief system, that basically, I'm gonna use the term gaslighting. I thought it was normal to purposely get under a woman's skin, purposely piss her off, gaslight her, to push her to the edge just to get a fucking reaction. Because I thought that was love. I thought antagonizing a woman. I thought nitpicking because I saw my mother do this to men, or I saw a lot of women who were very emotionally damaged, unhealed. I saw them do that and then cling to their abusers. Oh, man. Isn't that fucked up? So I'm midlife crisis. I'm like, shit, well, what do I do now? What do I do now? I'm sitting there like, I thought that this was normal. Unconsciously hurting people because I don't even know that I'm hurting, because I saw people numb it so well. Hey, how you doing? I'm doing great. But inside, fucked up, hurt, and damaged. This is what you see in the world. Oh, hey. If it's windy, y'all, I just trust that y'all hear me well, but there's nothing I can really do about it. So, yeah, man. Them self-realizations, bro, when you really be on this healing journey, this shit is not for the faint of heart. Should have come out of nowhere. Should be having all types of fucked up trust issues and shit. I know personally what I went through with the women to where I realized, I said, you know what? I'm not going to be that person that live in victimization of what so much I went through with women. But I can be the one now to be transparent about my experiences, even my role. And then be able to uplift and encourage our women to heal. Our women to walk away from said relationships. Our women to realize, like, you have, you know, knowing your worth is walking away even when you don't have anything. Because that shit gets scary. It's very scary. It's very scary. But men go through it too. Because when you're talking about growing up with people who have a belief system that trauma bonding is fucking normal, it's very scary. It's very scary and traumatic because, again, you'll unconsciously cling to your abusers, and then sometimes it takes somebody to know their worth to walk away, even when there's kids involved. Like I said, that father wound exposed the fact that you can be in something or develop something with someone, you don't even realize, like, some of that, the beauty in those connections can teach you a lot about yourself if you're willing to see yourself and your role and what it took to get there. I'm not perfect in all of this at all. The honesty of, like, knowing, like, you know, you grew up in a predatory culture that preys on women, women doing the same to men and little boys, and men doing the same thing to women and little girls. You know, if they're not parading themselves sexually, then they're not valuable. That's predatory shit, dog. And here it is, I told myself, I'm like, man, what the fuck have I been a part of? What have I been enabling? Do I want my daughter to go through something like that? Absolutely the fuck not, and she won't. Nope. You know, some of us are so deep in to where you can have, and I gotta be honest with y'all, like, I gotta be transparent because it's the only way to fucking, you gotta recognize the wound before the healing can happen. For a lot of you mothers, especially going through things where you have to go through an uncomfortable divorce, where you're probably left with kids, or you're probably going through something where, whether if it's with kids or not, I gotta just sit down because it got warm out this morning. Whether you're going through something, a damn stink bug on my back, get your ass, boy, if you don't get the fuck. So yeah. Hey. So yeah. Let me see. Again, let me see if I can position this. Woo. So get some wind flowing in this motherfucker. So again, it's very challenging for a lot of us, like, but you know what? This is the way things kind of like had to be, because I know it's difficult in accepting that, but in that acceptance, this is how you make room for the healing. Is that, again, we have been programmed to believe that trauma bonding is a healthy way or a thriving way to be, and it's actually just a survival mechanism. It really is. It's like, bro, it's like sometimes we can see all the fucking signs until it's like you get to a point you be like, you know what? A lot of our mothers and fathers created us out of trauma. A lot of them didn't. They ignored so much shit, and then it came to us, and here we are, like, mad at ourselves because we felt we should have known this, and then we're mad at, you know, at other people, whether it be them because they want to acknowledge their role. So it's a lot. I'm giving y'all transparency. It's a lot, bro. It's a lot, because I told myself, I'm like, knowing me, I probably could have had fucking probably 10 or 15 kids, because, again, it ain't just a predatory culture. It's a spiritual warfare and a lot of things to realizing, like, generationally, you carrying so much shit. Ancestrally, you inheriting so many things that your mama, your grandma, great-grandma, so forth, that now we're facing head on. This shit didn't come with no manual. A lot of us assed out. Shit ain't even about money no more. This shit is about, like, that healing shit to have your ass realizing, like, bro, what really fucking matters? I'm ready to walk away from all this shit. You got people, and it's very cautious, you know. I will advise people to seek some type of assistance or guidance with this. But you got people that get to that point where they get close to wanting to harm themselves, suicide, because they just can't have, they don't know how to take on the load. They don't know how to escape it. Some may call it the dark night of the soul. Everyone don't make it out of that shit. Everyone don't make it out of the evolution or willing to evolve. You know how challenging it is? It's like, it seems like, I don't like to use the term between, because I just feel like we're all in a huge transitional moment. This shit, the world after this will never be the same. And that's astronomically speaking, or cosmically speaking, for those that are aware of that. Like, man, it's certain things in this Scorpio season, no one will ever be the fucking same. Like I said, I've been crying like so much shit coming out, accepting that father wound, to the fact of like, I may not ever really care to even get to know that man to the depths, because I'm so far along where I'm at when it comes to the fact of me being who I am and confidently rebuilding that structure, that security, emotionally, mentally, not just as a man, but that little boy who did not have that father that I felt should have been there. And I had an abusive man, you know, and I have, you know, bullies first before I had anything that was healthy. This shit, bro, I was sitting there telling someone, I'm like, bro, I had so many bullies. I can't look at it no other way, because abusers, I had so many people, and I carry so much anger. Sitting around that repressed emotion, sitting around those repressed memories of, why did I have to get whooped? Why did I have to get beaten on? And I, you know, questioning God, questioning the creator, the most high, whatever you use, questioning source of like, why the fuck did I gotta go through this? Why do I have to be treated like this? And I know a lot of us feel this way. And then a lot of us hold that guilt and shame around, feeling like even when we want to have no relations or connections with the people that had first done these things to us, after a while we don't learn all these fucked up behavior patterns, and in that we don't fuck over people, we don't hurt other people. I can attest and say I acknowledge that shit, because I had to get to this place. It hasn't been easy, it hasn't been the best, because then I got to reflect on not just what I went through and what I learned. It's also the fact of an acceptance of like apologizing to myself, because I know that I didn't get the love that I know I deserve. Then when you enter relationships or certain things, you know, now you're trying to interpret it. Was that a fucking trauma connection? What was I doing? Then some of us are in places where, again, you mothers who have been in marriages, been in connections, and don't even realize your grandmothers and all them, they've been trauma bonded for so many fucking years, wounded so many years. And the reason they didn't want to get out of it, because they was too emotionally invested. A lot of us have been so emotionally invested, or have kids with someone and you know that it's over internally. You know that it's over internally. You know you've accepted it. And this person may not accept it, but some of us can have kids. Some of you can have kids and realize like, okay, do I be patient? Do I sit back and just wait till the kids grow up? Yeah, man, real authentic shit. You're going to hear it here first. It's really like that. Then a part of you don't want to, you're telling yourself, like, do I want to have resentment against this person, or does resentment grow with this person because I know that I want to leave and I know that I want to be here and this person wants to be here, and, it's so much involved with that because it ain't just physical. You have things that it's not just physical. And you want so much for that child to have a mother and father, or, the wants and the need. You need to be there for yourself. You need to be a healthy person, healthy emotionally, mentally, just for you to show up. Again, I've seen this shit. Trauma bonding connections, man, for years and years, and you push away the ones that are healthy for you, but at the same time, shit, you don't even know what healthy look like because you never seen it. You never experienced it. Man, oh man. So that father wound for me has been huge, like the mother and father wound. And it shows up in both energies, feminine and masculine ways, because I've experienced things from both women and men. I've experienced things in my childhood. And when you're dealing with the wounded masculine, you're talking about how so much aggression, how passive aggressive people are, how much they keep in, how much they projected onto you from both women and men growing up. You know, it's like when I was young, I know a lot of us felt like we were just targeted. Like we were just a scapegoat. At the same time, like now when we're progressing and we're trying to grow out of shit, it's like, oh, now he or she is a great hope. Now, you know, at the same time, you still got people, when we're setting boundaries, they can't scapegoat through us no more. Like, respectfully, I don't know. It gets deeper than that, where some of you have, you know, family members, once you start to stand healthy in your shit and start to set boundaries, then you become the villain. Then when you no longer can be scapegoated, then they don't even see their patterns where they're trying to skip over and, oh, they want to make it about the grandkids, they want to make it about the kids and so forth. And in reality, they don't even see their patterns, that they're continuously dysfunctional ways trying to scapegoat through the fucking kids, bro. They don't even see their woundedness. This shit, I be like, I signed up for this. What am I doing? This shit funny, but at the same time, I had to learn how to not give a fuck and realize I have to give a fuck about me. It is a daily process that you are constantly learning, that you are constantly evolving. I had to realize and come to that self-realization that certain things I have to prioritize, and even whether, you know, you're angry, the world is angry with you. You know, allowing their emotions to come up and rise and realize, like, they will get it someday. Your kids will get it someday. And that's the thing about transparency. That's how you break generational curses and cycles, is the honesty in being honest with yourself first, realizing what the fuck is going on in your lineage. For me, I realized, like, for a lot of us men that don't know, or just humanity in a whole, just for me, from my experience, codependency, the womanizing, you know, all those things are connected to where it's like even learning how to be self-sufficient, even learning how to rebuild a solid structure, not only emotionally within yourself, spiritually within yourself, but also the honesty of knowing, like, this is how you are going to shatter the illusion in your inner world, in your within yourself, to create that outer world of knowing, like, this sometimes can be the most challenging things that we don't want to accept and believe. But in reality, some things that we don't want to do, we need to do for the sake of balance, for the sake of to protect, you know, to bring harmony and peace, you know, and more of a prosperous and progressive mentality to you know, yourself and your lineage. Being a generational curse breaker has a lot to do with facing the very greatest fears of whether walking away from family, whether walking away from kids, you know, in a way to where, you know, it's a balance between what some of you may have to be co-guardians, or what I would call co-parenting, you know, or just simply be learning to be a healthy version for yourself first. And in that, it's like, the beauty in that is, like, you'll realize that you're bringing peace, and you're bringing a more balanced and holistic approach to yourself. That's what restoration is about. That's what balance is about, is that a lot of things that humanity hasn't seen is being channeled through the very people who are here as healers, herbalists, or, you know, shadow workers, or people who are tapped into who they are, you know. And I can go on and on. You know exactly who you are, the ones that have been shunned, the one that has been outcasted, you that are, you know, people that have been, you want to use the term black sheep, whatever it is, we all are chosen. It's just, if you choose to face the very things that others are afraid to do, that's what makes you chosen, when you choose to do those things. And you choose to do it scared. You can do it scared, not knowing what the outcome gonna be, but still see the lesson in how you can say you did it for the experience and the growth internally, to better yourself, to realize, like, you know what, everyone's probably may be against me when I do this, but This is decision is that it has to be for me, but I know the awareness that it will have a ripple effect on everyone involved. You know, that's a lot of us, again, as men, have developed this codependency. I told myself, like, I developed a codependency where when the womanizing things, again, this is the belief system. These are things that I seen not just men do, but I saw the patterns of women who smothered their sons so much, who emotionally manipulated them, who abandoned them, and don't realize, like, internally, as he grows, that abandonment, he will seek out in other women. And if he's not aware, this pattern will continue. And then he has kids, and guess what'll happen? His resentment that has grown for his mother that he didn't even know he had, he will project it. He will create, trauma if he has a daughter, because he won't know the emotional connection or the emotional intelligence, if he doesn't recognize it, between him and his mother. If you don't recognize the woundedness, if there is woundedness there, that's the mother wound. And the same goes for women. If they're not recognizing, like, they will seek out this shit with other men. And this is what the culture has been around. This is what the woundedness in humanity has been centered around. The superiority of man is more better than woman, or the superiority in religion. How women can't do this is an attack on the anatomy of a woman. All this versus shit, man versus woman. All this predatory behavior, all these things that we want to ignore when it really is centered around childhood wounding and a lot of, malicious and fucking malevolent behavior. Because we refuse to acknowledge that darkness is a part of our light. Once we recognize that, then you realize that you become what I'm gonna say frenemies. You become allies with your fucking darkness. That don't mean you take people's shit. No, you recognize it. You befriended your so-called demons, and some people gonna take that shit a whole nother way. I don't give a fuck. You befriend them because you realize, like, oh shit, this very thing that I was afraid of, and this is what you will see reflected in people that you connect with. Remember your first bullies. Remember the first person that bullied you until you stood the fuck up. And then guess what happened? Once you stood up, y'all became something, not for everyone, but y'all what? Everything was smoothed over. They started to realize, like, oh, no, I can't beat him up no more. I can't do this no more. I'm not able to. So either they move on trying to orchestrate something different, or they become allies. Or they just simply go on with their life. They just fade to the back. And you see this happen a lot. I've seen this happen a lot, even within my own experience and experiences with people who mothers or family members of certain things, that they will use this, where you can have financial abuse involved, emotional abuse, or physical, and so forth. And they will use said things like the house as a form of not like abuse of collateral in a way. They will get out, you gotta do this, or they will use money in a sense of like how they won't pay for certain things, or they won't support you through certain things. What else? The emotional abuse, to where they don't allow you to really say what you need to say, when you're young, or play on your emotions. There's so many things I can talk about that can go on and on, that again, that is coming up for a lot of us. I'm only here as a fucking messenger. Like, it is what it is. And the world is becoming more spiritual. It's being restored to what it has naturally been. For what you see in the physical, there is a balance between in the spiritual. And it tells you this is a spiritual warfare. This is not a fucking physical fight. You're at war with your fucking self. And that's what I had to realize. Certain things where I had anger and all these emotions come up. Where did it come from? The inside first. Everything comes from the inside out, not the outside in. So that's what the world is being restored with. You're realizing as women and men that a lot of your problems, a lot of your issues, a lot of the things you conflicted with has stemmed from the inside. A lot of things your mama dealt with, your father and them was dealing with when y'all was together, their belief system, her belief system, his belief system, the world's belief system. They took on this, they were programmed with it. Y'all inherited in the womb of your mother. It may sound wild, but look at what you're doing. You ever set back? You ever to set the fuck back and realize, like, your patterns are really connected to your mamas and daddies, and you don't even know, or whomever was in your life. You out here trying to accomplish all these things, and I want my son to do this. I want my son to be just like me. I'm not saying no issue in that, but what about his belief system? What about her belief system? Are you encouraging her? And I've seen this shit play out on the world scale. I told myself, I'm like, what I went through was to show me that, for one, I don't have no control over my children. And that's the thing about the wounded masculine, is that we've been in the grasp of control freaks, of narcissists, of people who are trying to, and they've been programmed by consumerism, colorism, all things centered around control when it comes to these countries, whether it be the banks, whether it be all things systematically. All these things have played a role in what you see the fuck happening today, where you see it in this human behavior, where you see this pattern, where you see in corporations. I've dealt with it personally, where you see people in said positions. This is an equal playing field. Let me be the first to fucking say that, universally speaking. This is an equal playing field. We all are part of the oneness. When you see people that's in these positions and think just because of their money, just because of their status, and just because they're a manager or chief with all this other shit, that does not make them superior to nobody. Just because of their color. All of this shit is ignorant. It's pure like stupidity to source, to the Most High. It's like, what? So let me show them. Y'all want to play God or the Creator? Let me come down. Let me bring the judgment here and show you that I'm going to select very few of you to rise up in your power, to show to these people you don't give a fuck about that, because deep down you know that there's a connection that you have. A lot of you have a connection that most don't and aren't aware of, that they won't get, but there are others like you. And your journey is not in vain. A lot of people are fading out. A lot of them will die and transition. I'm seeing it. I've been wanting to talk about this shit. I was sitting there in so much gratitude the other day, like, bro, I'm so glad that the world is ridding itself of fucking racism, hatred, self-hatred, all this egotistical shit, all this conflict-driven shit, all this war, all this shit centered around wounded masculinity, wounded femininity. I'm so glad everything is being exposed, because don't we all, not we all, because some of y'all don't, but want to live amongst each other peacefully, harmony. Like, some of us are here to see the fucked up shit. Whether you want to call it fucked up or not, you can look at negative as positive, because it's only making a way for what is to come. Don't matter what it is. That's why you see so much happening. Is that the word, catastrophically? Yeah. Or you see so much happening collectively in the consciousness, within yourself, the world, the weather. All of this stuff plays a major part of restoration, being rebalanced. Being restored, rebalanced. Yeah, being balanced out or whatever. All of that plays a major part. A lot of you here are recreating, reintroducing yourself to yourself and the world. They don't have to accept you. They're not supposed to. You got to make peace in your world first. You have been raised in environments where people know nothing about who they really are. They are not at peace with what the fuck they've been through. And so they put you through war. You've been at war with your mama and daddy for so long because they're at war with themselves, until you realize, like, oh, baby girl, that's your shit, huh? Let me give you this back, huh? This is your shit. This is your stuff. This is not mine. This is yours. Why you mad at me because I don't want to take on and carry your baggage no more? Let me say what I need to say and move on. This is yours. This is yours. Learn to give people back their shit and move on. I had to learn that. Before I start dibbling and dabbling in somebody else's fucking karma. Let them learn their lesson. Plot twist. This might be the title. Plot twist. That's the plot twist. Plot twist. See, in your story, you're supposed to, it's like a movie, and this is an analogy. You're supposed to be so-called, things that were supposed to take you out in this life. The Most High said, you divinely protected, touch not my anointed. You ain't supposed to touch that one. I don't care who orchestrated nothing. Plot twist. Now here you are, main character. All eyes on you. Then that fades away. Then you realize all of what you've been doing was never in vain. Because you saw the oneness. You saw the fucked up shit when it came to humanity. You saw the selfishness, the greed. You saw all this stuff that you realize that is crumbling. And you're like, oh my God, what am I here to save? I know it can be very challenging in this time because I tell myself, I'm like, what am I trying to save? Who am I trying to save from their shit? Who? When I need to be, that's a constant evolution. I need to be reminded, like, bro, whatever, you know, sometimes I had to surrender and allow, like, whatever gonna happen, man. But we've been around so many people who never knew what it was to even surrender and allow themselves to go through a change peacefully. Go through a change. What? Mama and grandma and all them, they always tried to carry the load for everybody else and never set the fuck down, never chilled out. Daddy was always, or wherever he was, whether he was in jail or whatever it is, they was never, like, none of them was never really, when you see a lot was with these men now. We over here trying to fix a lot of stuff, and in reality, some shit you can't come back from. Some things have to be destroyed in order for us to rebuild anew. Did you hear what the fuck I said? Some things you can't come back from. When you look at what this country has enabled, what they've allowed, some things they cannot come back from. So we over here thinking, people trying to assume that you're trying to fix some shit that it's already done. It's already have shown you that the foundations of these motherfuckers was never. A lot of these countries and everything they're centered around, when you look at the so-called country of the U.S., and it's almost like who's been running the show, China and all these places, what you see that has been centered around what they've been enabling, the control, the greed, the self-righteousness and so forth, that's the very thing that's destroying them from the inside out. You can't destroy an empire from the outside in. And so a lot of stuff has been centered around, I think I spoke about this, I researched this too, or a sister was saying like how the U.S. was built upon Cancerian energy. And when you connect Cancerian energy, that is the matriarchal, the mother, the mother, the daughter, and so forth. So when you look at the history, or her story, not his, her story. What about her story? Her. What about our daughters and mothers and so forth story about what the fuck happened on this land? And you seeing the corruption of how this corrupted ass patriarchal and both, well, especially the patriarchal, and the corruption in who they are and how they become corrupted and their unhealed traumas of this nation and people, and how much they've tried to brush shit up under the rug when it comes to the fact of what has transpired for this patriarchal to be, and how many people unalived, and how much destruction, war, bloodiness, to gain a sense of fucking power, a false sense of power at that. Desperately trying to gather up the left pieces from it's like breaking a fucking glass. That's how I see America right now. It's like shattered fucking glass. And you can never gather up all the fucking pieces for it to look the same again. That's what people haven't accepted. And some of you are those shattered, I'm gonna give you an analogy. Some of you are that shattered fucking glass that needs to just accept that you are not supposed to be pieced back with certain shit. You're trying to pull these pieces back right now. You got some of these people so desperate trying to, oh, we got to put this back. And some of us are just sitting back looking like, dog, it's some shit. Some things are so broken that you cannot mend it. You cannot break it. It don't matter what you have. This is how a new world order, the order of things, disorder. This is how a new order comes into play. All you fuckers, what you call them people? This is for entertainment purposes only. What do you call it? I forgot what they used to call them. All you fear mongerers and propaganda and all that other shit. Listen, it's done. Time is up. And when you hear the end of times, that means it's the end of the timing. It's just like the clock has ran out. The clock has ran out for people. People know their time is up. So it's like a fucking, the higher ups is looking at like, man, y'all put on a great fucking show. Woo! All right. All right, scene. All right, in scene. Okay. All right. It's like, oh my God, this analogy that Devon is giving me right now. It's like a lot of us are in position. It's like the world is a fucking stage right now. Once you accept that, it's like we're all playing this character. The world is a stage. And the beauty of that is like as a curtain is closing and you have all these said characters in these positions and they're like, whether they bending over or some people, you have some people in the crowds like a movie. They're throwing fucking rotten tomatoes at them. And some people may be throwing flowers at certain people. Whatever it is, however you want to celebrate it. Because everyone's perception is going to see it differently. And then you got those backstage. Did you hear what the fuck I just said? You got people backstage, bro. Getting dressed. But the only thing about this show right here is that these people don't really have to dress up as other characters. They coming out as they fucking self. Whatever it is they're in. And the thing about, it doesn't matter how they come out. It's about the authenticity of who they are. So it don't matter what they wear. So these characters that you've been given, bravo. Y'all don't realize the most out of sources like, this was all a show. This is all a show. Bravo, bravo. Now, some of us, through our anger and we feel what someone did, we may throw tomatoes. We may not feel, oh, that was, shit, I'm going to throw flowers. Bravo. Bravo, I'm going to throw flowers. I'm going to celebrate like, man, you know what? I don't need to have no repressed envy. I don't need to. And that's the thing, how you have to look at people in your life, these characters. It's like, bravo, mama, you know what? You did the very best you could. Even though you might have smoked your crack, you still had my back through certain things. Even when you might have prioritized crack, or you prioritized drugs, or you prioritized a man because you was wounded. But bravo, mama, you played your best character. You played that motherfucking role. You did that role. You did that fucking role. You know, that's how you gotta look at certain people. Once you get to that place of peace, you be like, man, boy, you did that. You did that. You did that. Like I said, people may feel like, oh, he's putting on a show. Look at him. He's making video. He's living like that. Guess what? None of you can come and trick me out my position of believing that I'm not the main character in my life. See, once you realize that your kids aren't your main character, they know that they already their main character in their life. We are just simply guides. We are in it, even in through our own fucking dysfunction. There's still character development through that. But can we be authentic and honest and say, like, look, mama wasn't the best, daddy wasn't the best. Shit, daddy unlearning shit that he didn't even know he was traumatized by. I'm unlearning the ways of this world. Be ye not of the world. Be in it, but be ye not of the world. So these characters, all these people that you are so caught up in, bravo. Because there are others right now preparing to walk on the stage, the world stage, to really show y'all something you've never seen before. And that's something with integrity, authenticity. They're here to balance out what this shit show, what some may perceive it as, to balance it out. Because that's how things, the natural order of things. Before we get bad and put our anger and energy towards all these other things, nature don't get mad for what's natural. Look at what's happening in Scorpio season. Look at what's happening right now. All these emotions, all this transformation we're going through, the leaves are falling or letting go. We're letting go of stuff. But that tree is still rooted. That tree is like integrity. That tree is authentic. It don't have to prove to anybody else that it's a tree. It don't prove to the bird it's a tree. It don't have to prove to any other trees that it's who it is. I told y'all before in other videos that all of us like represent these different trees. Some trees give off fruit, and your fruit will speak for itself. Some trees give off certain shit that pretty much poison everything around it. Some trees got to be uprooted because it can no longer stand in the soil. Some trees rot away just like people wither away in your life. It all serves its purpose. Plot twist. So again, all these things that's coming up for a lot of you, it's all how you perceive it. Your negative can be looked at as positive. Your positive to someone else could be looked at negative. That's the thing about even having a balance or even trying to be neutral, man. What the fuck? Somebody out there not even, like, there's times where I didn't even know how the fuck I'm going to pay some rent. There's times where I was, I felt like I was misjudged or misunderstood for just coming off as myself. But I realized being a part of a world who doesn't value said things when you speak your truth or are intimidated by your light, shit. I've been what they call fired or so-called terminated behind some shit just because, this person or managers or people are in positions where it's not always aggression, it's just authenticity. And you gotta, you ain't got to, but it's the acceptance in like, you know what, this is what it is. Something greater is coming. Rejection is for my protection. Something greater is coming. The miracle is already here because you're the miracle. Your life is a miracle. That's what I had to accept. That my life, I am a fucking walking miracle. I am a living miracle. Because there are things you and I should never have gotten through. But once you reflect and really accept that you are the miracle, you are the magic, you are the abundance, you are the prosperity, you are the dark and the light. You are everything and nothing at the same time. Because everything you gather here don't mean nothing to someone else. Another man's prosperity could be another man's curse. So do it with integrity, man. Do it scared, but be authentic. Be authentic. Because then you can be at peace with not having to feel like you got to have guilt or shame around knowing that you did it. And you did it from a place of authenticity and love. And so, something telling me you don't gotta seek revenge. Your fruit will speak for itself. And your fruit is whatever you're putting out there. Your seeds, whatever you're planting, you'll reap that harvest. You'll reap what you sow. That harvest is not always something pertaining to something like what we want to perceive it as. Oh, it's financial or this and that. Sometimes the harvest can be disguised as just the fact of like something you did years ago, then it comes back around. But does your mindset change around it? Does your perspective change? People re-enter your life, or you reconnect and realize like, okay, am I going to make said decisions the same? Or even if I did, okay, what could I do differently? How could I approach it differently? Plot twist. You are the miracle. Peace and blessings. Shalom.